Well, here we are at Wheeler Mission, and I love the mission because of really the diversity of programs that they have and the different ways in which people are touched from Wheeler Mission. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And for folks that are doing the Drumstick Dash, to see exactly the money that's raised, you guys are four examples, great examples, shining examples of the work that can be done here right before our eyes. So I want to welcome to the conversation, moving right to left, we have Beth, we have Dana, we also have joining us here is Terry, right, and Joshua. And Terry, folks, in case you're wondering, and you're going to find this out, I promise you this, it is not the guy that played Darth Vader in the movies, but he's got the greatest voice you're ever going to hear, right? But look, all of you have a voice for what Wheeler Mission is able to do and what they've done for you. And I just kind of want to go over each of your stories because each one of you is a victory. And each one of you, you know, it's a day-to-day thing, but each one of you should be proud not only of the journey that you've, you know, how you've gotten to this point, but that others might see that example in you. So I wanted to share that story. So Beth, let's begin with you. You grew up just south of Indianapolis.
Yes.
Basically in suburban Indianapolis, for lack of a better term, in a small town. But yet, I'm assuming that you didn't necessarily envision that in your 30s that Wheeler Mission would be, you know, the focus of your life. But that's where life has brought you in the journey itself.
It has.
If you could, take me through your journey here.
I came here in August of 2019. I had 2 open heart surgeries and I needed to stay clean off of drugs and I couldn't go home. It wasn't a safe place for me, unfortunately. I have a great family there, but the atmosphere was not ideal for me to live a good life. So I heard about Wheeler Mission from someone who had went through their Higher Ground program, and she had been clean for about 5 or 6 years. So I inquired about it and came in August straight out of the hospital, really, and did my interview, and I haven't left since. I completed their program, and now I'm almost done with their Equip Intern SLT training. I'm a college student, and yeah.
Now, is Wheeler Mission providing residence to you as well? Or
yes.
Okay.
It is actually part of the programming.
Okay.
They provide the housing for the Higher Ground program, and if you decide to stay for their SLT programming, then you move up to a different floor, and then they provide you a house, like an apartment with a couple roommates.
Now, when you came to Wheeler Mission, and I'm sure that there was a level of humility and a sobering, pardon the irony of that phrase, you know, you're walking there and you're thinking, I'm here almost because I have nowhere else to go. And thank goodness it was here for you. But if you could, when you went through rehabilitation, for example, were you successful on the first run of that? Or did you have relapse and did they have to then extend again? You know, were they open to you even though maybe you had come short the first time around?
With Wheeler?
Yes.
I had actually never been in any kind of rehabilitation before Wheeler Mission. I'd gotten clean on my own before and never really had any kind of support for that. So I was completely just done with everything when I came here to Wheeler, and you know, there was no other option, no other rehab really offered a long-term that was ideal, you know, that put something else in the aspect besides recovery. They include recovery and God both, and it makes it a priority in your life, and it was just the only option for me at the time. So I haven't left.
Now, well, first off, congratulations on, you know, to this point. I know every day it's a day-to-day journey, right?
Yes.
But today is a good one for you, and there are bright tomorrows for you as well. Let's move over here to Dana. So Dana, it's interesting because Beth was in a situation where, you know, she had to make that difficult decision that maybe being around family was not the right environment for her. You come to Wheeler Mission, but you have your family with you as well.
Yes.
You have shown to be a very dedicated and loyal mother to your kids.
Yes.
You're working with them in this crazy time with online schooling, which is in itself
Yes.
new to everybody. But what does Wheeler Mission mean to you? And tell me about your journey.
Well, my journey is I grew up here in Indianapolis, and I've been here all my life. I have used for years, and I decided last year, September the 8th, 2019, to go into rehab. I went into rehab at Harbor Light. I was there at Harbor Light for about 3 months, but I had where my son was taken in through a family member, but that situation really didn't work too well, so I loved it there at the Harbor Light. Wanted to hang in there, and took up different classes and meetings and stuff, and and I was really worried about what was going on with my son and
Sure.
different things, and the tenants and stuff, and so I prayed on it. I didn't want to leave Harbor Light because it was helping my recovery, and I feel, when I did have to leave, I didn't leave wrong. I left the right way. So I said, Lord, thank you that I didn't leave and just walk out and be out into that ugly world again. I was brought to Wheeler Mission through God. And ever since I've been here, it took me a while to get used to the rules, and I was frustrated and I felt scared. And as I hung on in here, I experienced the patience, and the staff members are really helpful. And, I see all people from all different places come in, when
It's probably interesting because you have people from totally different backgrounds
Yes.
that have kind of a common point. And that common point is simply that need. And then that common point, I would imagine, probably transitions or parlays itself into a common faith that all of you have in the fact that you see the power that's being done to help you out. Do you feel that camaraderie, that kind of family environment? You have your family with you, your immediate
Yes.
family, but do you feel that family of everybody else around you?
Yes, I do. I feel, because I'm down in the women and children unit, and I feel that we are all a family, and we're God's children, and we are sisters in Christ. And I look at the staff members as family too, because we are living in the same shelter. And as I've been there long, it'll be a year I've been there. And by me being there so long, I do look at it as family, because that's my home. That is my home, and, until, another door is open for me and my son, and I'll be back on my own. But I'm very patient with the program, and I like the program, and it really helps me out a whole lot.
Now, let's talk to Terry. You hear the ladies talking about their journey here, Terry. The one thing I know about you, Terry, is it's my understanding that you're the guy that if I want to get a good meal, you're willing to get in the kitchen and put something together for me and cook some good food. And you're kind of the glue guy. You're the guy that everybody rallies around. That's my understanding of you. But look, you've had some hard times. Your life hasn't always been easy.
Yeah.
There are times probably where I'm imagining that, families left you heartbroken and you had to find a new family here. Take me through Terry's journey and how you ended up at Wheeler Mission.
Well, before I came here, I was a mental health officer, and my wife had died of 40 years. And as soon as my wife had died, I buried her Saturday. Then my son was in a motorcycle accident. He's a truck driver, and he's supposed to have died, but God saved him. As soon as I got my son back on his feet, about 3 months, my brother died. And I'm sitting here as a mental health officer, sitting here in these rooms with the psychiatrists, talking to the patients, and I seen I was going downhill. I should have been where the patients were. And I was going, then drugs started coming more back into my life, and drinking. And I knew I needed help, but I was a minister too. And I'm sitting here trying to help. I'm helping others, but I couldn't find nobody to help me.
Yep.
And I was in a plane dive. It was like going down, and I couldn't pull it up. And I just prayed, I cried out to God. I'm like, Lord, send me somewhere. Help me. You know, every time I go out and use, it like tears the inside out of me. And I'm crying out. And then the Lord sent me here. And I was a warfare minister, right? And that's what I dealt with, was warfare, and mental health and warfare go together. And then they brought me here to Willard, and I was in Hebron. And then we talked about this self-confrontation. And then I had learned that deals with warfare too, because the self-confrontations help you to deal with you. It's like mental health. It's not about what comes at you, it's how you handle it. And this is what God is trying to help us with. He's trying to make us into the children that he wants us to be.
Do you find yourself kind of, Terry, to use the phrase, paying it forward in the fact that it would be understandable, and I'm sure you had moments of anger, right?
Yeah.
And, why are you testing me this way? But yet, as you overcome it, and you find the positives and you find the strength, you never know when somebody might walk through that door that's living the life that Terry lived 3 years ago and can learn from your journey. Do you at times feel that responsibility or that significance of what others around here can learn from you?
Well, I'm always ministering. And as far as the self-confrontation of, things that's come to you, the things come to you is God just revealing to you what's in you and what needs to be changed. And that's where the putting on and the putting off in our quiet time comes. It's a sheet that we have to do. And it's like the putting on and putting off, taking off the old man and putting on the new man. Coming to that confrontation, seeing what part you played in it, and seeing how I need to change it in order for me to be that better person. And God is showing me a whole lot with that. And then it's not just that, it's just understanding that he's preparing me. He's let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus, and let things be done on earth as it is in heaven. And he wants me to have the same mindset that they have up there. So it's got to be created down here. And it's created like iron sharpens iron. Like sometimes you need that rock to get that knife sharp. And you need that rough edge, that rough piece to sharpen that knife with. And sometimes the things that's coming at you can be that rough piece that helps sharpen the knife.
Okay, I want to talk to another guy that's pretty sharp, speaking of that, and we're talking about Joshua. And Joshua, when talking about family, you're another guy, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Wheeler Mission not only provides for you, but has helped you to be able to provide for your family while you get some footing underneath you. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely, yeah.
What was, you are from southeastern Indiana, Ripley County, and Ripley, of course, when I think of Ripley, I think of Believe It or Not, right? Ripley's Believe It or Not. Here you are, you're in Ripley County, and probably, believe it or not, you never believed that this is where life would have you at this point in your journey. How did you end up at Wheeler Mission, and what is the roadmap for you?
I ended up at Wheeler Mission by making a lot of bad choices in life. Yeah. It wasn't planned. It's not like I grew up saying, hey, I can't wait to live in a homeless shelter and study God all the time, but it's what happened. It's what God wants me to do. It's what I'm doing. And yes, it definitely benefits my family. It benefits in ways that's not financial. I'm not working, but I get to talk to them every night. I get to pray with them every night. I get to spend time with them and sober-minded, healthy, and create a good relationship with them, and that is beneficial.
Now, are they living with you in one of the facilities, or are you here getting your own health while, they're obviously waiting for you to be able to go through that journey?
Yes, sir. We have a house in Morse Hill, and I'm here by myself.
Okay.
Living here.
Okay, so you have been here how long?
Since March.
How difficult has it been, though? I know that you're in touch with your family, and I'm sure they're proud of you, and you're proud of yourself, just to be able to take that step. But at the same time, I would imagine that not being around them does have a void. What has Wheeler Mission done to help you through that part of that, for lack, not loss to the term that Terry had, but loss in its own right?
Sure. Man. So Wheeler Mission provides an environment like we can focus on God, and God is providing me with that comfort and the separation from my family. The more He reveals to me, the softer my heart gets, and the more I see the value of my kids' life, my 2 daughters and my wife, and how I want to be with them and have that healthy relationship. Not getting that right away, that sucks, but I know in the future I'm going to have that opportunity to do what's right and be that leader.
I want to talk, let's go back to Dana, if you could pass the microphone down. Dana, one of the things in sitting here, and this is true of all 4 of you, but I noticed it jumped out of you, okay? And that is that I think everybody in any walk of life needs to find the things about themselves that make them proud. But I could tell as you were talking, and I'm happy for this for you, that you're proud of yourself. Mm-hmm. For what it took to come in here and for what it took to carry on what they were teaching you. Mm-hmm. Did it take you a while to learn that pride? Did it take you a minute to learn that it was okay to be proud of yourself?
Yes, it did, because I used to be to the point to where I've thought that I could never do this, could never clean my life up. I thought that I wouldn't be able to, the things that I wanted to learn then in my addiction, I thought that I would never get to be able to accomplish that.
Right.
So now there's a lot of things that I'm doing now, and I see now that I am clean. Before I was clean, I was not appreciated with myself. I was like, I'm not happy. I'm not proud of myself. I was thinking bad things about myself, of just downing and being depressed. So now, since I'm on the other side and I'm clean now, I just feel so proud about myself, and God has brought me a long way. I'm proud about everything that I am doing. But that's one thing about me in life. As I growed up, I've never been ashamed of anything, because I've did a lot of, been giveaways and all types of stuff, because my mother raised me not to have that pride in myself. So, and I did feel that not proud of myself, because when I was using, I was like, always mad. And I was like, I got to clean my act up. I cannot do this no more.
Did you have a particular moment where, and you can think about this too, Beth, because I'm coming at you with this question also, right? But did you have that moment where you just kind of looked at the scene of the movie of your life and said, this is my rock bottom. I can't do this anymore.
I have been in and out of so many doors. God has opened up so many doors for me. He has really followed me, and I followed God. It was like I prayed every time, and I was like, every time I get somewhere, here comes this trigger. And I got so tired and I got so fed up till I just hit it. I said, hey, I can't do it no more.
Okay, so let's ask Beth the same question. Your health, obviously, I'm sure was part of it, where your heart was telling you it couldn't take much more.
Right.
But do you remember the time and place where you just said, this is not me?
Yes. So I was actually in the hospital bed. They told me I had about 2 weeks before they were going to call hospice, and that I, didn't really have a chance to come out of my blood infection that I had. I had been on antibiotics too many times and just abused my body too many times. I just went back out. And they told me that, and I almost accepted it. Like, I had just thought that was what was going to happen.
When you look back at when you first began using, how old were you when you first started using drugs?
I was about 15.
Did you, I would imagine, and open disclaimer, and I know this will shock all of you, I'm not smart enough to be like a mental health expert here, okay, or a psychologist, but my guess would be that you went back and realized that there was something in your life that led you to that point.
Yes.
And that until you dealt with that trauma, you were going to keep resetting that same scenario. Is that
Exactly.
is that an accurate statement?
That's very accurate, yes.
And did Wheeler Mission have the programs available to you to help you deal not with the addiction, but with the mental trauma that led to the addiction?
Yes, they're very into helping you realize that you don't just have an addiction, you have a disease, and you have to figure out, their program allows you to look at yourself, and they give you that time out to sit down and just really reflect on your life and what has caused this snowball effect of the insanity piece, really.
By the way, I'm going to ask each of you before we're done here, so I'm going to give you time to think about it for a minute, okay? But just so you know, at the end, I'm going to ask each of you what your favorite word is. What word means the most to you? But I'll throw one out, and Beth, I'll begin with you. The word hope. Do you have hope now, and was there a time in your life where you didn't?
Oh yeah, there was, like when I was just speaking, I didn't really have any hope. And I wake up every day and know that it's a new chance, and I actually have hope for my future. And, I have a lot of things that have started going for me again, and it's just hope that I can make the next right choice and be able to have hope tomorrow.
Now, I feel like sitting here and having access to a guy's voice like Terry's and not using it is really kind of not taking advantage of one of the great arts here. So let's go back to Terry. I wanted to ask you, Terry, of the group here, you're the only that didn't grow up right in the Indianapolis area, but obviously it's home to you now.
Yeah.
Something like the Drumstick Dash, which has become this fabulous event every year that people come out and they dress like turkeys and they run. And, the saying, of course, is move your feet so others can eat.
Right.
And I think a lot of people think Wheeler Mission is just where people go and get a hot meal and that's it. It's obviously a lot more than that. But I'm curious what it means to you to know that there are people in the community that are willing to give their donations, quite frankly, to help you guys out.
Yeah.
Can you speak to a little bit to somebody that's contemplating making a donation or wondering where their money goes, to the fact that in fact it is valid that donation is going to a good cause?
Well, the thing about it is the evidence of the people that come through the program. They're one of the largest programs here in Indianapolis. And in Louisville, we have programs like that, but they're like AA programs. And this is the only Christian-based program that's this big that people do support. And the lives that are being changed through the things that they are doing, and don't really cost you nothing, because the supporters are supporting you too. And they're helping change your life. They're depositing into your lives, and what we get out of it, we get a spiritual base, we get a foundation that we can stand on. They'll take you, each program has its own different things that it does, like the foundation. The foundation brings men's in, and then they rebuild the men, and then they set the men's out on jobs and let them save money to get them a place. And then once they get them a place, they help them with housing, so the guys are already set up to win. And then the headline.
Yeah, I mean, you're learning, and I hate to say it this way, Mick, but there are programs here for the life skills. I mean, look, guys, here's the reality. I grew up, and I was very fortunate. I grew up in a 2-parent household. I was the youngest of 3. Everybody went to college. I grew up in a great environment, all my friends. And yet, when I was 25 years old, I was financially completely illiterate. I mean, I didn't understand credit score and credit card and, all of those things. I was unaware of it. And so that's one of those things that's part of adulting, right?
Right.
And am I correct in saying that at Wheeler Mission, those programs are there to help you with those skill sets, right?
Yes. They have programs that help you with relationships, but the financial ships help you with banking, saving money, and then help you to teach you how to pay bills, you know, and then it gives you a spiritual base too. It gives you a full circle, something for you to stand on, some substance for you to be able to hold on to. And the only way that you won't make it if you don't try. That's the only way that you won't make it. But they give you everything that you need. And the whole time that you're there, you have no need of nothing because they provide you everything, from clothes to shoes to food. There's nothing you would ever need for money because they provide everything there.
I want to ask you, Joshua, with Thanksgiving upcoming, and you had mentioned that your family, you know, you've got your family's in the house down in Mooresville, you said, right?
Morris Hill, yes, sir.
Morris Hill, sorry, down in Ripley County. If you can pass the mic to Joshua here. What's the Thanksgiving blueprint for you? And what does it mean? This year is unusual, obviously, even though they're going to do you know, we're going to have the Drumstick Dash, but things are a little bit different for people, and people are navigating through that. Are you excited about being around family with the holidays and knowing that with every day you are a more improving husband and father for them?
Yes.
What are your holiday plans?
Right now, I don't have any.
I was going to say, we probably don't know yet, right?
We haven't even got into it yet, but I do remember Drumstick Dash time of the year. They need a lot of help. There's a lot of things that go on, and I guess that looks like I could either possibly maybe spend that time with the family or spend that time here helping them, or maybe it just becomes they're there at the Dash with me.
What would you say to somebody, if somebody's watching this right now, and they say to themselves, you know, I was going to make a $10 donation, but let's be honest, what's $10 really going to do? What would you say to somebody who, no matter what the amount, because every dollar matters,
Yep.
but no matter what the amount, for somebody who is unaware of the work that the mission does, what would you say to them to encourage them that in fact they're making an investment in hope and in people?
Yeah. I don't know, what come to mind is voting. You know, a lot of people have the same attitude about voting. You know, what, my vote's not going to count, just what's the one thing going to do, but we know that it does, and I encourage whoever's struggling with that just to give.
Right.
God wants us to be useful to Him, and being useful to Him is serving others. You know, He knows we're going to sin, and there's no question about that if we're going to be wrong, but He does want us to be useful, and how else, you know, if you got other ways to be useful, do that, but donating money is perfect.
Okay, let's pass it all the way back down to Beth, and now comes the real challenge here for all of you. You've had a couple minutes to think about it, so you're on the hot seat first, Beth. Tell me your favorite word.
My favorite word is love.
Was there a time in your life where you didn't know that word?
I didn't know that word for myself. I came from a loving family, 2-parent home, you know, very norm, but I did not love myself. So it was really more about learning how to love me.
And which is, I think Whitney Houston, didn't she the one that said that's the greatest love of all, right?
Yeah.
But do you feel love here?
Absolutely. I feel, you know, this is the place where I learned that I was brought to remember to love others because they love you exactly for who you are and for where you are in your life, no matter what that looks like.
Okay, Dana, we'll pass the microphone to you. You know, you kind of have the superstar flair of the group here, right? I like that. So I'm curious to know what the superstar word is for Dana. What's your favorite word?
Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus. Because all the times of years that I've been falling, God has really been with me. The praying that I do, you know, and as I've been clean, you know, now, you know, I feel a relationship with God. And that's the reason why it's my favorite word, is because He has gave me so many chances. So I feel that this time since I hit the bottom, you know, He gave me another chance to go and get myself help.
Was there a time in your life where, if Jesus is your favorite word now, we've always all known the word Jesus, right? I mean, but Was there a time in your life where you didn't truly know what that meant?
I didn't know what it's always said that you should build a relationship with God. And I never felt that relationship with God is because now there's blessings that are coming to me. And just because those blessings that I have doesn't mean that I have to stop my recovery. I have to stop praising him, and I have to stop worshiping him, because you don't want to fall.
But
I don't.
you feel that here, right?
I feel loved here. I'm happy. I tell my son I feel so blessed, and I feel so, being in my own room, it's like being in my own place. And I'm surrounded by some great people on our unit, the great staff, and, I really enjoyed, and I met Higher Ground, and the Fellowship Recovery. Before the pandemic, it was really nice. I mean, now since the pandemic, and going to church on Sundays, and then there's Bible study there, that touched my heart. That really, because I was raised up in church.
Sure.
But you can always worship God at home. You can worship him. God follows us. And you can pray anywhere. When you have a problem, you ain't got to tell him what you want to pray for. He already know what you want. He's magic. He's all over. He has a whole world in his hand. And I'm just so blessed because I can feel that relationship, because things are going so, it's like when I'm talking to somebody with a testimony, and it seems like I repeat the same thing over and over, but it's like as I talk to this person over again, it seems like something new comes to me, and I said, that's God.
Right.
God is teaching me, and he's showing me the way. So I have a great relationship with God. That's why I say Jesus is my favorite word.
Okay. So, Terry, you can certainly repeat if you want, but love and Jesus are off the board. You can repeat if you need to, but what's your favorite word?
I gotta go with love, because she took it away from me, because I feel like love is reciprocated, and it's the reciprocation of love, even in relationships, in everything. And then this is like a relationship to me, because the love that they gave me in the SLT program, that's what we do. We reciprocate it back. And then I cook in the kitchen, and I'm a cook, and my kids fell in love with me, not because I was just the nicest guy. I'm a nice guy, but I cook good. I'm a good cook.
Yeah, that's what they told me.
And what I do is, like, I was telling Chef Brown when I was going through their classes, that's what I said, you know what, some of these people that come in here on Market Street, the only time they can ever get a good meal is when they come here. And they said, when you put that love in that meal, that's the only sense of love they have felt all day long. And I said, that's what God said. He's the only way that that they can see him is through you. And he said, what are you giving them? And when you cook that meal, when I cook that meal for my kids, and I want them to be like, Dad, oh, this is so good, but they sit there and say, that's love. They say the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And that's through the love, reciprocated. See, you give that love to him, even through your meal. What you do, you put your whole heart into it.
So, I mean, when people, for example, we're getting set for the holidays, we're getting set for Thanksgiving. People talk, sitting down at the table.
Yeah.
Again, that might look different for people this year.
Right.
But they have the opportunity, people have the opportunity through the Drumstick Dash or through fundraising to provide that meal, right?
That's it. That's it.
And you're the guy that's going to make it into an art form, right?
That's it, because the stuff that comes to us, man, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, the hearts of the people that donate stuff to, oh my God. It's almost like living in a 5-star hotel. I'm telling you, but people's hearts are opened up. And that's what God looks for. He said, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was naked, you clothed me. And everything that you do, you play a part of that. When that man, when he clothed that person, the one that donated plays a part. He gets the same reward as the person that put the clothes on him. So when you donate to that, you play a part in that reward.
All right, let's go to Joshua. A couple of good words have been mentioned already.
Yeah.
Your favorite word?
This is interesting because when I was getting ready, I was trying to think like, man, what am I going to say? What are these guys going to ask me? I got to have some material. And I started thinking about foundation, and I came into the office and I was like, I'm going to write it down real quick. And I just wrote down that one word. And so that's my word. Foundation. Yeah.
What does foundation mean to you?
And foundation is just, it's like a base. It's sturdy. You know, it's important because you have to have that. It's something that resonates. Just it's always going to be that underlying control, and it's that foundation. And so when you think of a house, you got maybe worry or something coming through a storm. That foundation is going to keep it solid. So God is our foundation here. We're trying to make that our foundation. So when we're faced with trials and other things, and no matter what, we're always going to be God focused and centered on Him, making our decisions. And that doesn't mean it's always going to be pleasant. It's going to be unpleasant trees. That's how He grows us. But to me, today, foundation.
You know, you guys all, like I said, you all have reason to be proud of yourselves. You guys are all a perfect example and representation for Wheeler Mission and what it represents. And I think you guys all spoke it so well that now that the rehearsal's done, we'll do it again and Joe will tape it this time. No, I'm just kidding. Anything else anybody wants to add in? Otherwise, have a happy Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday season. And tomorrow's a new day, and hopefully it looks a lot like today for you guys, all right?
Amen.